she should have known not to send classified information. And as I said, that's the definition of negligent. I think she was extremely careless. I think she was negligent.
FBI Director James Comey telling Congress while he didn't see grounds for prosecution, Hillary Clinton mishandled classified material on her private server while she was Secretary of State. And we're back now with the panel. So, Britt, in her FBI interview, by one count, Clinton said 27 times that she did not recall or could not remember key events and details. As for the emails about drone attacks and CIA assets, she said that she relied on her staff, and if they sent her something, she assumed it was not classified. Do you find those explanations or failure to recall persuasive?
Of course not. And I don't think many normal people would. And it simply furthers this impression people have that this is an extraordinarily, exceptionally secretive and even indeed dishonest person now running for the highest office in the land. Under normal circumstances, such things as the mishandling of classified information, negligence in the handling of classified information, would be utterly disqualifying. In this particular year, under the circumstances, given the nature of the opposing candidate, she's ahead. Whether over time this stuff, and there's likely to be more of it, will weigh her down to the point where people just might find it in their hearts to vote for the alternative is the question. Based on the polling we've seen so far, it doesn't look like it will be enough, but it's something to watch out for.
Neera, we should point out you are close to the Clinton campaign. You've been an advisor to her over the years. We all know Hillary Clinton is whip smart. So how do you explain her vagueness on all these events and even saying she didn't really understand how the classification system worked?
No, she didn't say she didn't understand how the classification system worked. I mean, I think what's good about this is that everyone can read these documents. I've read them.
She said she didn't really understand the difference between various levels of classification. And in the C marking, she said she didn't understand that at all.
She said that she took all the classifications very seriously. So she didn't differentiate in the way she handled because all of them were seriously. That's what she said in the testimony.
Which is why she did it on that private email.
And I think this issue, the issue of the emails is she has, I recommend people read this. There's 27 or so emails that she's asked to remember out of 60,000. She couldn't recall each one of those emails. But you see in the process
wait. That's not quite true. She says at various points, it isn't just emails. She's asked, do you remember when you were told how the classification system worked? And she said she didn't remember that specific briefing.
Right.
That's not an email. That's a briefing.
Let's just be clear. I want to be crystal clear about this. Out of the 27 times Britt mentioned, many of them are emails. So that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I want to be crystal clear about that. So I think the important thing here is just to step back, that we have had this massive investigation into this effort. There, you see from this why the FBI did not move forward with any other action on this. And I think she's recognized that this was a mistake to set up this server.
Okay.
And she said that multiple times.
I want to pick up on one other.
Whereas I do want to
pick up on one other aspect of this.
I'm sure, but I just need to say that we have not had, we've had a full discussion of this, but we just learned this week that Donald Trump was engaged in a pay-to-play with the Attorney General.
Can we stick to this
I'm
subject?
happy to, but I would love.
Okay, but I hear. All right, I'm going to just go ahead with my.
There's not a lot of coverage in Fox. I would love to get some coverage for that as well.
Okay, well, it has gotten covered. But in addition, in March of 2015, in her news conference at the United Nations, here's how Clinton explained using the private email system.
I opted for convenience to use my personal email account, which was allowed by the State Department, because I thought it would be easier to carry just one device for my work and for my personal emails instead of two.
But Neera, the FBI says she didn't use one email device. She didn't use two email devices. She used 15 BlackBerries. And if I may just finish the question, and the FBI was unable to recover 13 of those 15.
This is a great point. There were always one BlackBerry at a time. She didn't use 15 at a time. I've gone through it. I know it's ridiculous. I've gone through my fair number of BlackBerries, but it's not that she had 15 BlackBerries at a time. I think this is an important part of reading through this investigation. You'll see that that's the reality.
All right. George, what do you make of the FBI interview, and what effect do you think it'll have on the campaign?
Well, there are two kinds of scandals that are ruinous for a candidate. One is one that reinforces a negative narrative about the candidate, and the other is that subverts a positive narrative. This amazing email scandal does both. That is, it reinforces the idea that the Clintons are entitled and shady and indifferent to the distinction between law and not law. And it subverts the idea that she's a seasoned, experienced government official who looked at the C marking and said, gee, what could that mean? Could it mean classified? She had no idea, evidently. Clearly, she or people acting on her behalf destroyed materials that were under subpoena from a congressional committee, just as the IRS did with Lois Lerner. So this is a very familiar matter. Now, does this matter? How many people are at this point undecided? I maintain still the belief that most Americans give more due diligence to the selection of a car than a presidential candidate, and I'm not sure that details of this granularity matter.
All right, we're almost out of time, and I want to bring Ann in because on this question of whether or not it matters, the race is clearly tightening. I want to put up some numbers. On August 9th, in the Real Clear Politics average of polls, Clinton was leading Trump by more than 7 points. Now that lead is down to 3. As somebody covering the Clinton campaign, do they think that the revelations, the continued series of revelations about the emails and the relationship with the Clinton Foundation, that it's hurting her?
Clearly it is hurting her. I mean, the Clinton campaign would like to finally put the entire email episode in the past and move on from it. And every couple of weeks or so, something happens that doesn't allow them to do so. That, I will say, however, they've always factored in that the race would probably be within 5 points at the end. So if we're at a more or less, if we're at stasis now, they'll take it.
All right. And I will, on your behalf, Neera, say that you file a strong dissent on all of this. Thank you, panel. See you next Sunday.